This is Meltdown Live, presented by MyBookie.ag. Use code NEXTROUND at MyBookie.ag for double your initial deposit. You sign on to make a deposit, they double it with code NEXTROUND at MyBookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. MyBookie.ag.
Yes, indeed. This is Meltdown Live, and we are absolutely ecstatic about having you here with us to kick off another week of the show. Here with you daily, 2 o'clock Central, 3 o'clock Eastern. I am your main Meltdonian, Tim Melton, here around the pop culture campfire that we call Meltdown Live, and we are here with a little bit of a laid-back approach today. I just want a little bit of a comfort Monday. A lot of times Monday can be the most dramatic day of the week for a lot of people because they're dreading the weekend ending. And um, I'm literally looking right now at the studio potentially falling apart. Let's welcome in our main man here, Mr. Tyler Lionel Johns. Tyler,
What's up?
I'm just bringing you in so that way you'll stop touching things. What is happening over there? The studio falling apart?
I was plugging in my phone to charge it, and then the little power strip that's sitting right here
Yeah.
was about to fall,
Right.
and that's also what all the stream stuff
Yeah.
is connected to, so I was trying to save it,
What-
and luckily I did, as far as I can tell.
What scares me is that you did grab it and save it, and you're like, but there's the clicker for the power strip is actually where
It's right up
it's
here.
right there, and so that terrified me, but I'm happy that you're here, and I'm happy we're all here, and I'm happy that all of Meldonia is here. Thank you so much. We have EG as well in the
Hey.
Culver studio. EG, a dramatic start to the show, but not a traumatic start to the show, and that's what's important.
That is important, Tim. I like that.
That is, you had a traumatic week last week in poker where pocket aces connect with an ace on the board. You got 3 of a kind, you still somehow lose. Are you able to rid those demons tonight? Are you ready to do that at the poker club? And we will update everybody of how it goes tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm looking at it as a learning opportunity. I think I learned a valuable lesson in the game of poker last week. Short memory, but I did like how I played overall. So it's short memory in the sense of awful beat, it happens, move on, but
Right.
not how I played.
Great poker players always are willing to look at their game and adjust.
Mhm.
But sometimes adjusting can cause more problems than by not adjusting.
Right.
So you're in that weird, tricky spot right now where you go, overall, I really like my play, but the result maybe
Just-
isn't what I want. So how much do you tinker? How much do you not? It's your call.
Yeah, I'm trying not to tinker too much with like my foundation right now because again, I would play that hand the same way every single time.
Yeah.
I liked how I played it. I think there are some elements that I am working on to add, but I don't want to change anything right now.
Let's talk about your weekend.
Okay.
You went back to your hometown of Atlanta, Georgia,
I did.
and I know that that makes you very happy. I'm always happy to get out of Atlanta. You're always happy to go back to it.
I am.
Tell me a little bit about the weekend. I had been monitoring the socials
Yeah.
and doing some refreshing to make sure I wasn't missing any moments. How was the Braves game? How was the experience? How was the weekend?
Yeah, so Friday I went to a Good Friday service of sorts, and it was really interesting. Last year it was a Passover dinner that we did, and then this year it was more of like a study on a specific part of the Bible that refers to Good Friday. So I did that with my family on Friday night, super fun. And then Saturday, spent the morning. My mom went estate sailing, which is like the best thing ever. I love going to estate sales. And then we also went to like the farmer's market, did all those kind of fun
Oh my
things.
gosh.
I know. And then we went to Costco. I mean, it was a great Saturday.
I'm surprised you're back.
I know. I know. Between all of that, I didn't find any estate sale finds. There was one house we went into. They were obsessed with the bicentennial, like of the United States,
Mhm.
and they had rooms full of bicentennial collectible items. Did not find anything. I wanted to call mine, but it was like impressive.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sounds like a heck of a collection there.
It was. And then Braves game on Saturday night, very fun. We went to the game. Braves win.
I mean, maybe you're the good luck charm.
No, I'm like kind of like maybe I need to go to every game.
That could be
considering.
tough.
But no, the Braves won. There's been some controversy that have come out of the weekend in terms of the Braves. If you're a Braves fan, you know what I'm talking about with Ronald Acuna and Brian Snicker, the manager. And so we'll talk about that all in the Pennant Grace tomorrow. But that was super fun. They've done a lot of renovations at Truist Park that I wasn't like aware of until I got there.
Thing was already brand new.
I know it feels like it. I mean, it's only not even 10 years old.
Yeah.
But they've redone a lot of sections, which was fun to see. And my favorite restaurant in Atlanta, Taqueria Tsunami, really, it's Marietta. They are now at Truist.
Well, hot dog,
I know.
what you're not eating, hot dog.
Yes, not eating a hot dog. I'm getting Taqueria Tsunami. And then Sunday had a fabulous Easter, and it was awesome. Spent time with family and friends. I am the winner of the Easter egg hunt.
Good for you.
Feels good to say
I
that.
so what I recall based on our conversation on Friday was that there was monetary funds in these Easter egg,
Yes.
and it's an all-out war between
Yes.
you and the siblings
Yes.
and siblings' spouses as well.
Yes.
And you're a one-person team out there
Yeah.
trying to make it happen.
Trying to make it happen, Tim. And I did. I
So
got 3 of the 4 golden eggs.
how much is in it? I mean, can I add?
Yeah, of course, $20.
Still,
Yeah, no, $20 in each golden egg. And then there's, either there's $10 bills, $5 bills all scattered throughout.
that's awesome.
We actually found an egg from last year. I know. I know.
Was it a golden egg?
No, it wasn't a
Okay.
golden egg, but my brother was like, "This egg is like so hot, like to the touch. It's like, what's going on here?" And when we went back inside to count and stuff, my dad was like, "Wait, wait, wait, wait. This is an egg from last year."
That's amazing.
So it was good.
You need to get back out there. Maybe there's some more that you
No,
guys have
we
missed.
did in fact realize there's a blue egg missing, and so if whoever finds it next year will get an additional cash prize.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Y'all should join us. It's a fun time. You can
It,
get
it,
side money.
yeah, I don't want to create any more hostility between the two of us
Yeah.
when it comes to our competitive games
Spirit.
of monetary funds that we have against one another. So I'm just going to let you take care of that. But congratulations on all of
Thank
that.
you.
I'm glad it was a great weekend reconnecting with family. All right, let's get to this. It was a great movie weekend. We're going to get to all the reasons why. I'll tell you one of the reasons it was not a great movie weekend, and that was Snakes, according to Tyler Lionel Johns. Tyler, you've
What?
labeled this as the
Uh,
worst animated movie you've ever seen.
uh, uh, it's so bad.
Now, I don't think a lot of people have heard of this movie. The premise is there's some shoes that are almost like the toys from Toy Story, or it's like Pixar light.
Yeah, it's basically Cars or Toy Story, but it's shoes. There's a very like rare pair of shoes that one of them goes missing, and so that shoe has to find his way to
His counterpart.
yeah, his counterpart and to complete the pair. And there's a reseller slash collector. There's somebody making fake shoes. There's a kid just trying to get the shoes because he loves them and wants to play ball in them. And
So
Keith David as a high top Chuck Taylor.
So I know that the term for people who collect shoes and are crazy about shoes are sneakerheads.
That is correct.
Is there another term for sneaker fanatics or anything? Like, is that it?
Not
That's
really.
just universally accepted term?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, why did this movie? Because you're kind of a little bit of a sneakerhead light, right? Or are you more intense sneakerhead than I know? I know Hunter Bussey's a sneakerhead.
I mean, like, it depends on the model. Like, there's certain like uh Jordan ones, for example. I've got the black and reds. I got the blue and blacks, the shadows, which are gray and black, and then the Chicago's, which are the red and whites. And those are all the original colorways. So there are some shoes that I am crazy about.
You dabble,
I dabble. I'm more of a Supreme head, if you will.
right?
But before I started buying more Supreme, I was more strictly a sneakerhead.
Okay. So you have maybe your tastes have changed slightly here, but
Like
still.
I sold off a lot of my old collection and then started building a new. Because my closet had like 20 or 25 pairs.
And you're a fan of animated fare.
Yes.
This should be a movie that speaks to you.
Should be. The animation was garbage. It looks like the animation that they would use for like a commercial.
Mm.
It's not very good. They I'm not sure if they're going for a Spider-Verse feel or if it's just pure incompetence, but the frame rate switches an irresponsible amount of times, and it just looks jank. Um, Voice acting is the most phoned in performances across the board I've ever seen in an animated film,
Worst movie of the year?
easily.
Okay.
Oh,
Like
wow.
this made me have a new respect for Minecraft
Oh wow.
because this was just unbearable. There were some things that were personally offensive to me. The first scene of the movie is at a sneaker con, but they don't have the rights to the word SneakerCon, so they call it the Sneakerhead Gala, which that's a dumb name. Just call it a convention.
Okay.
Just call it shoe convention. Just anything.
Were you twitching in your seat? Were you like screaming at the?
So that's what I'm getting to. In this scene, a character goes, "Whoa, those are the Back to the Futures." Now, if you're a big Meltdown fan, you know that the Back to the Future shoe is the Nike Air Mag, and I'm absolutely crazy about that shoe. The camera pans to this pair of dress shoes almost, and I'm glad I was the only one in the theater because I couldn't stop this reaction. I yelled out, "No!"
Oh.
when that happened because that's just not the shoes.
Yeah.
The amount of like brand IP they would use was just in the weirdest spots. Like you would see StockX tags on some sneakers in the character the collector's apartment. You would see Nike boxes. Converse, like Keith David's character is a high top Chuck Taylor. In the trailer, he's got the line, "We sneaks don't talk, we converse." And so it's just really weird that they didn't go full with the brands. It,
Right.
it was like what are they allowed to use? Because they're allowed to use the shape of a Chuck Taylor and the Converse All Star logo. They're allowed to use the Nike logo only on boxes and bags. There, none of the main shoes were Nikes or looked like Nikes. There was a side character that kind of looked like a pair of Air Foamposites, and another side character that kind of looked like a pair of like the Reebok Shacknosis,
Mm.
but
Let me see here
it was very odd.
in the top 10 if it ended up popping up in there. I don't think it
It,
did.
it feels like they didn't have the rights to use for anything, and so they just put logos where they thought they could get away with.
That sounds awful. Well, I am glad you're through with it.
Also, Lawrence Fishburne in the movie as the collector.
Yeah.
Keith David as the high top Chuck Taylor. Anthony Mackie as the main designer shoe. That one looks terrible. Two has a terrible voice acting performance. And let's see who else was in that movie. Oh, Quavo from the Migos, and Sway Lee and DJ Mustard.
Quavo was at WrestleMania this weekend,
That's
which we'll be talking about here to end the show. But we need to go from sneakers, which is not the name of the movie, obviously, but we need to go from sneakers to sinners. It's the only way that sort of transition works.
I'm fine with it as long as that movie just dies.
Because, am I correct in that in the same opening weekend you saw the best movie of the year and the worst movie of the year?
Correct.
Okay,
And an anime movie where I had no idea what was going on.
there we go. Let's get to sinners because word of mouth on this traveled fast.
Oh yeah.
Now, there had already been some hype based on early screenings where people are talking about this is the real deal. You had the Rotten Tomato score, which was at 100 for a long time and eventually dropped to, I think it's at 98 right now.
It's at 98, 97.
I mean,
98 for critics, 97 for audience.
yeah, it got
which I feel like you never see anymore.
an A cinema score, which
Mhm.
is amazing, especially considering this is a genre film where
Yeah. First horror like film to receive an A cinema score, I believe.
some people are saying this isn't a horror movie. Those people are wrong. This is definitely, there's a horror
You can
element to
blend
this.
genres, and there's definitely horror in this.
Yeah, oh, there's 9 million genres within this movie.
Yeah.
But you know, here's what's original about this story is the fact that it's such a big swing narratively, and audiences have been clamoring for. We're so tired of remakes and sequels and IP being, driven down to its absolute foundation and dispersed out to everybody. And the top 2 movies in the country right now are really kind of like two sides of the coin. You have Sinners, which is a completely original concept that is a film. And then you have Minecraft, which is an IP that's the most commercialized form of movie making that's drawing people in. And both of them can share the same ecosystem and both be successful. Both of them Warner Brothers, by the way.
Yes.
I mean, Warner
They
Brothers,
needed a win like this.
they did. They've had some misfires from other movies this year, including Mickey 17, which was another movie about twins, by the way, if you think about it.
It was.
Alto Nights, another movie with twins or dual performances. Or what's the deal with Warner Brothers and dual performance movies this year? By the way, they've only had one that's worked, and that's Sinners. I believe Jody has been in the chat here for the Meltdown. Jody said, "Saw Sinners last night, and it was incredible. The best theater experience since The Shape of Water." Um,
He also says we need to start a campaign for Delroy Lindo for Best Supporting Actor.
100%.
I agree. I love Delroy Lindo in Sinners.
Yeah.
He's fantastic.
He is really incredible in this film. He's really put together a great filmography, but this is an ensemble piece, right? It could have been dominated by Michael B. Jordan, and
Mhm.
trust me, he gets in there, he's the star of the team. But every performance rips in this thing. Every one of them. Like,
It
I don't
was
think
so
there's a
much I feel like we barely even talked about Michael B. Jordan's performance in
yeah.
it when we did the spoiler review, which is up on the channel now if you haven't seen it. And 'cause we were just talking about every side character's performance because they were so good, whether it was Haley Steinfeld or Delroy Lindo. It took us well over half the review to even talk about the dual performance, which was incredible.
We're both cinephiles,
Yeah.
which EG always finds to be a funny thing that we call ourselves, but
I
we
do.
are. We're both cinephiles.
Cinephiles.
And this movie's been on our radar for a while. We were talking about this movie, which is, I think, why it's important to subscribe. We were talking about this movie back in December. We were
Yep.
talking about this film being something you need to have eyes on, and it's going to be a big deal. And, you know, we knew that all the ingredients were there. It sounded like a mishmash of ideas that
Mhm.
may or may not come out to be great, but it's been something we've been talking about for months. And even with our level of expectation going into this, even with the Rotten Tomato score being what it was, it still blew us away how good it was.
Oh, it exceeded my sky high expectations.
Yeah, it was better than we thought it was going to be, and we thought it was going to be great.
Yeah.
If that's not the best movie experience of the year, I don't know what is. Now, there's another movie out in theaters right now that I think you would consider to be the second best movie of the year, in Warfare. Yeah.
Yes.
Now, not as commercially successful because it's a little bit of a tougher sell.
Yes.
Got to be in the right headspace. I've not found myself to be in the right headspace for Warfare yet.
You don't want to take a date to
Yeah.
Warfare. You don't want to go with friends and say, "Let's have a cool night out at the movies and watch Warfare." It's a depressing movie.
You and I both agree, though, Sinners is a wonderful date night movie.
It's fantastic for a date night. It's fantastic for going out with friends. It's fantastic just to watch by yourself and be
Yeah.
blown away by how well every single aspect of this film is executed.
I am seeing it again today. I'm very excited about that because I've only had a chance to see it once, and I know it's a movie I'm going to watch at least a second time here in the theater, maybe 3 times, I don't know.
Have you pre-ordered a physical release yet?
I have not. I have not. I really wanna see it a second time in the theater, and right now it's a 4.5 out of 5 for me. Could it go a 4? Could it go a 5? I don't know where it's gonna go, but right now it's a solid 4.5, could stay at 4.5. Cost $90 million to make this movie.
Mhm.
It's already made 45.6 million in North America in its opening weekend. Do you think with a movie like, The Accountant 2 opening up this weekend, what's the other big release this weekend?
Uh,
Until Dawn.
Until Dawn, and then there's other than that, I think the biggest profile things would be re-releases. There's a re-release of Happy Gilmore, and there's a re-release of Star Wars Episode 3: Revenge of the Sith.
Do you think Sinners stays in the number 1 spot after
Yes.
this coming up weekend?
Yes. The Accountant 2, as much as they're trying to promote it as a standalone experience that you don't need to see the original for, people are gonna that haven't seen the original are might be a little hesitant on it. And also, I was talking to Hunter yesterday about this because he was trying to find a day where he could do a double feature of Sinners in Prime and Episode 3 re-release, and there's only one Prime showing for the whole theater that day showing up right now. So
Mm,
my thinking is they're gonna wait to see how the Accountant pre-sales or previews do on
yeah.
Thursday and Friday, see if it gets more premium screenings.
The long-term story of Sinners will be fascinating to follow because it started out of the gate better than anybody expected, even us, as we've
Mhm.
been championing this thing just from the preliminary thoughts of what this movie could be. It's a vampire movie, and it's a damn good one. It's a crime movie. It's a movie about trust and faith and giving back to a community. And I mean, it's got its heritage, its family,
The
it's,
power of music.
I mean, it's a vampire film. It's everything. It's everything. And right now, everyone seems to be really on board with it for the most part. Now, there are some detractors. There are some people who it just did not meet their sky high expectations of what was set there. But this is a 1932 set vampire movie about bootlegging brothers who open a juke joint in their Mississippi hometown. If you think it's going to be jarring to see Michael B. Jordan playing identical twin brothers on screen, they do a great job of making them very separate characters. Michael B. Jordan not only is great at what he does on screen, but the way it's designed for the environment for him to work in,
Fantastic.
everything from the visual effects to the costuming, production design, the sound design. Ludwig Göransson in this
Mm.
looks, is it Jack O'Connell
Yes.
who plays the main vampire baddie?
Yes.
It's amazing. I mean, I cannot wait to experience this again. And I really do, with my whole heart, give it a stamp of approval. If you haven't heard us raving about it now for 3 days straight, like what EG has been able to witness, then we're telling you, go see
I'm
Sinners.
almost sold on it, but not really.
Yeah, I don't think so. EG, that's the nicest lie you've ever told on there.
Good.
I appreciate that. Sinners at number 1, Minecraft at number 2, The King of Kings at number 3, perfect Easter weekend movie.
Mhm.
At number 4, The Amateur. At number 5, Warfare. At number 6, Drop. At number 7, Colorful Stage the movie, which I think is important to bring up. That Colorful Stage the movie
A Miku who can't sing.
ended up at number 7. Pride and Prejudice re-release at
Yes.
number 8. The Chosen Last Supper at number 9. Snow White all the way down to number 10 on Easter weekend. This movie's made less than $100 million domestically. It's a huge failure for Disney. They put the Tangled remake, live action remake on hold. Rachel Zegler continues to be nuclear when it comes to assigning her to a project right now. And, we could get on every week and talk about how big of the failure Snow White has been, maybe the biggest of the year.
I'd prefer not to do that. There's a lot of channels that do that.
Yep.
And you can watch them.
Yeah.
Because
So we
they like lying anyway.
Yeah, we can talk about what's awful or we can talk about what's great. And I'll tell you what is great is Sinners. Sinners is fantastic. And what did you think that was happening?
I thought you were gonna say Dr. Brian is great.
Well, I was gonna say if you're a vampire, your teeth are very important to you.
They are. Necessity on the job.
Correct. However, if you're not a vampire, your teeth should also be equally as important. What are you doing with your life? Go see Dr. Jeff, Dr. Brian, and Dr. Nolan over at Alabama Dental Associates. In the business, we call that a pump fake, what I just did to Tyler, because I was definitely talking about Alabama Dental Associates.
Yeah.
I decided to instead talk about vampire teeth. But you don't have to be a vampire to go visit our friends there. They won't suck your blood. Well, actually, they technically will. If you happen to be bleeding, they will suck your blood.
They will.
They have this little
But it's
device.
not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing when they're cleaning up. I'm not helping things here, but I'm going to tell you that Dr. Jeff, Dr. Brian, and Dr. Nolan are the absolute best at what they do. They are there for you over on Grants Mill Road. If you're new in town, need to make sure you have a dentist on standby. This is the team that we trust to get the job done. They're in Alabama Dental Associates. Try them for yourself. They're accepting new patients now and can help you feel at ease about all of your upcoming dental procedures. For more information or to make an appointment, call them. Here's the number 205 956 8977 or visit alabamadental.com where they look forward to seeing you. Oh gosh, EG, show that to the camera.
You
What
got
just
pocket aces?
Pocket aces, but guys, pocket queens. And this is the board. Can they see this?
Yeah. Jack, deuce,
Hopefully-
jack, ace, 8.
Hopefully the pocket queens got out, but I don't know. And then this poor soul had a flush.
So what ended up winning?
Full house.
Oh, aces
Yeah,
and jacks.
Aces
Yeah,
and
three
jacks.
aces, 2 jacks.
you're right.
Yeah.
Oh man, there's no way the king high flush folds.
No.
Ugh, that's tough.
No.
Okay, let's talk about something else that was a little bit tough. WrestleMania 41 was this weekend.
How was it?
I watched Friday night, the Hall of Fame ceremony, which was, I feel like it was like 3.5 hours long, and it started at midnight. So there's that because it was out in Vegas, so
Oh.
they were doing it live. Um, I watched WrestleMania night one. I watched the pre-show to night one. I watched WrestleMania night two, which was Sunday, and I watched the pre-show to night two and the post-show to both. So overall, I watched about 20 hours of wrestling content this weekend.
So, was there any doubt in your mind on who was gonna win WrestleMania 41? Because I was just scrolling on the internet and happened upon Drumstick accidentally leaking the winner, and I almost sent it to you and Pav, and then I was like, I know how Tim gets about spoilers. I feel like this would be the same way.
How did
But
that
I don't know. 20 hours of coverage. I feel like I should have sent it to you to save you some time.
how did that happen, or when did that happen? When did you see that?
It would have been Friday afternoon, I believe.
Friday afternoon.
Friday afternoon or Saturday morning. I can't remember
So
which.
Drumstick,
Ice cream brand, yeah.
right, who was partnered up with John Cena going into this event, they leaked the winner by saying they put
They
out a post or something?
there was a belt design with a John Cena like undisputed logo, and that was taken to be a leak on who would be the winner.
Oh. You know what I would have probably done, and I'm glad you didn't send it. I do not like things being spoiled, especially things that I'm already seated for or going to be seated for.
And you were seated for 20 hours.
Seated for 20 hours this
Made the right
weekend.
call, I
There's
guess.
tons of I was watching old WrestleMania stuff. I was watching look, I was very hooked on I'm gonna make this a wrestling weekend and I need this and I'm gonna watch it. And I did. I took my daughter to the store. We got her a championship belt.
That's fun.
Yep. And so that was fun. She was invested in about maybe out of the 20 hours, maybe about 4 hours of it she watched.
Pretty
That's
good.
not bad, right? We're baby steps. We're working on it.
Oh, Travis Scott put out a championship belt you can buy.
Mm. Travis Scott.
$1,200.
Let's talk about Travis Scott for a second, okay? You know his song Fiend?
Yeah.
Okay. That thing played nonstop all
Oh,
weekend long.
That's what I was wondering what was going on, and I looked at the chat earlier, and Pavlik had a comment that just says him fiend
Fiend,
yes.
fiend, fiend,
Uh,
fiend,
Song
fiend.
by Travis featuring Playboy Cardi, and it became notorious on tour because the mosh pits would just go crazy for that one, and so Travis would play it 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
Yeah.
8, even 13 times in a row.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a lot of fiend in there, and Travis Scott was a big part. Let's just jump right to the end of WrestleMania. Night two. It is the undisputed WWE Championship match between John Cena, heel John Cena for the very first time, and Cody Rhodes. I'm a big fan of Cody Rhodes. I love what he's done, not only as champion, but what it took to become the champion. And he's going to be in the Naked Gun, by the way. So there's already been this tease of Cody Rhodes is maybe going to be that next one to make the Hollywood jump. And we'll see how well he does in that film.
I was confused for a second and thought you meant Travis Scott, and I was like, "Whoa, what is he doing?"
So, Tyler, there's a lot of wrestling fans that don't really know Travis Scott.
Yes.
And Travis Scott has made now 2 appearances in wrestling, and both of them have been awful. I mean, like,
I'm
What is he doing?
well,
making money.
the first time he shows up, he legitimately injures the champion,
Boxed his ears.
bust his eardrum, and gave him a black eye. And you know, we're on the road to WrestleMania here, and you can't be doing that kind of stuff. So everybody's thinking like, oh, Cody's going to be giving Travis Scott a receipt, you know, where he's going to have to get payback. And he had a little bit of that in WrestleMania. Like Travis Scott, you know, the match has been going on for a good 30 minutes, and then Travis Scott's music starts to play. And everyone's like, what's going on? And he walks down the ramp, the slowest walk in, by the way, in the history of interferences in wrestling. He walks all the way down. Everybody's already tired of him by the time he gets down there. And then he pulls the referee out so Cody avoids getting the win, which should have led to some sort of disqualification right there, but it didn't. Wrestling logic. And then he gets into the ring. He gets attacked by Cody. Thank goodness. Everyone's kind of happy about that.
Hmm.
But, at the end, Travis Scott is the one that costs Cody Rhodes the championship. He's able to help John Cena cheat to win. He kicks him right where the sun doesn't shine. He hits him with the title. He gets the win. John Cena's your champion. Him and Travis Scott are seen at the end of WrestleMania celebrating. Cena holding up his real championship, Travis Scott holding up his, replica championship.
That's the same one he's selling on his website. $1,200.
Audience does not like Travis Scott. Travis Scott wasted all of our time. Everyone wanted The Rock to be a part of this. Travis Scott ends up being the one a part of this. Guy has a problem reading the room, I think, sometimes. And WWE is sort of in bed with the fact that, we're going to make this work. And right now, the Travis Scott angle, he's the most hated man in wrestling. So they got that going for him. I mean, he's legitimately getting heat from the audience, especially online. People are so tired of it. Even people who wanted to see Cena win are tired of seeing Travis Scott.
Oh, there's also like a bit of a cult online where anytime you see Travis Scott's name mentioned, you have to try and bring the tragedy Astrofest into it.
Mhm.
And it's like, oh, of course Cody Rhodes got injured. Look what happened there. And so I do think a lot of the hate stems from that.
Yeah, I think there are people who know him that use that against him. I think there are people who don't know him who are like, why are we being subjected to this? And we'll see what kind of role he plays in this feud if it continues in any way. I think Cody's going to have some time off, but Cena's your champion. He'll be on Monday Night Raw probably, and we'll get some follow up here with what the John Cena Travis Scott partnership really looks like.
So you're telling me you would not be interested in buying the Travis Scott John Cena football jersey that was
No,
dropped as part of the weekend?
not going to be my thing
No.
for sure.
Um
So it was a lame main event for the most part. I mean, John Cena looked like a tortoise in there. I mean, he's slow. He looked like he was barely getting through the match. Cody had to pretty much slow down all of his offense to make John look better. And then you have Travis Scott coming down and you're nervous the whole time because you're like, I feel like there's going to be another botch here that leads to somebody getting hurt potentially. However, the main event of night one, which was Saturday night, was outstanding. 5-star match. Exceptional. Really, really great match. CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns. Paul Heyman walks down with CM Punk. He ends up helping CM Punk by giving him a chair. CM Punk's going to use the chair to defeat Roman Reigns. Paul Heyman then low blows CM Punk, hands the chair to Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is then going to use the chair on CM Punk. He does. He's then going to use the chair on Seth Rollins. And Paul Heyman then low blows Roman Reigns with the chair to where he and Seth Rollins team up. And if you go back and you watch our WrestleMania preview video, you would have seen there were 4 things I got very right. One was Seth Rollins winning that match. The other was Cena winning. I also correctly predicted Jey Uso winning the World Heavyweight Championship. And I correctly predicted one other thing. Oh, yeah, Dominic Mysterio winning the Intercontinental Championship. And, me and Pavlik, we had a really good discussion about all of that. And there were just so many things that I thought would happen that absolutely happened. There were a couple things I missed on for sure. But the big ones I got really right. And Seth Rollins winning this the way he did created a WrestleMania moment for sure. And that was the highlight of the entire weekend, was that match. The rest of night one sucked. I'm not really going to spend much time on it. Night one was not very good overall, but it had a great main event. Night two had a really strong build up to the main event for the most part, but the main event itself was weak. So it was a very mixed bag this weekend for wrestling fans and for those that were really looking for something exciting to happen at WrestleMania. So that's kind of where we're at. I've got a little bit of WrestleMania hangover. And tonight I'm looking forward to seeing what happens on Raw while we're at the poker club.
Another
Another pocket aces?
This is kind of weird.
Wow. Did it end up winning?
Yeah.
Pocket aces typically they do win unless you're
They're
holding on
near
to them.
me,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
That's just
haven't
crazy.
seen this kind of anger and frustration from you since we saw a woman in the yard. I didn't know Travis Scott did that to you.
Travis Scott is I understand why they're utilizing him, right? He's a big star,
Mhm.
Get a different audience pulled in.
different audience pulled in, right? The problem with WrestleMania this weekend, the biggest problem, was that it felt like way too commercialized.
Mm.
Like it feels now like it's all about the profit margins, and they put it right in front of your face. It's like we're making this amount of money.
Hmm.
We're growing to be a global dominant enterprise by charging what we're charging for seats, and this is how many people are here. And they put seats, they build like the set that they walk through, the curtain that the performers walk through, and they put seats
Yes.
around the set
They
and
had VIP booths like on top of
on
the stage.
top of the stage, and they're just selling every experience possible. And don't get me wrong, as a wrestling fan, I like to see wrestling thriving, so I'm not going to sit here and be a hypocrite and say that I don't want them to make money. But like the video packages on Peacock, I don't know if anybody else had this experience, but every time they'd be going into a match and setting it up, and Michael Cole would be setting it up on Peacock, which is the only way you can watch it here in the US, they would cut to commercials instead of to the video packages showing you why the match matters. I don't know what the sort of rights issue they have or why they had to do that, but it really deflated each and every beginning of every match because you'd go into more commercials. It was just the most commercialized WrestleMania I'd ever seen. You had dancing drumsticks and dancing dude wipes and dancing. And I understand that they have logos splattered all over the ring. They have in the entrances, like the wrestlers themselves were doing advertisements coming down. Like it was just so ad heavy.
That's wild.
And, you know,
So they took out the story for each match before? I mean,
yeah.
at that point, you're just watching two people fake fight.
I don't know if it's a rights dispute, like only Netflix can show those because there's some sort of deal, or
It's weird
I
though.
don't know what, but it really deflated everything going in. But anyway, I am still a wrestling fan, but I'm a little deflated coming off of what I was hoping was another all-time WrestleMania. The past 2 years have been exceptional. And then this year, a little bit deflating, but we'll see how Raw maybe recovers from it. But, wrestling fans are a tough lot to please because we've seen everything. And how will Cena as a heel, as a champion, work long term? We'll have to see. Backlash is happening in a few weeks, which is the next premium live event, and it's going to be in St. Louis, Missouri, and that's the hometown of Randy Orton. And I would think Randy Orton's going to be a part of that main event because Randy Orton and John Cena have a very long term feud that is sort of historic, and I think they're going to rekindle that here. But really, the highlight for me was that night one main event, and we'll see what the repercussions of all that are. But Brian Pavlik says to put the Travis Scott Cena win in perspective, if Harley Race needed an artist to help him win record number 7 championship, Kenny Loggins would have interfered. Yeah, there you go. That's one that connects probably not to the younger generation we have here in the studio, Pavlik, but to maybe some of the old timers there in the chat. But anyway, I'm really happy I watched it, but in the same sense, narratively, I expected more, and I think everyone was just sort of like, "Oh, that's it," and that's what you get. So I'm not shocked Cena won, but I'm shocked that it was as sort of dry of a finish as it was.
If Travis Scott ends up winning the belt, are you still a wrestling fan?
Travis Scott, I don't think will ever compete in an actual match.
Oh, well, you never know.
I never know, but if they put him in a match, it will go down probably as the worst match of all time because Travis Scott is weirdly uncoordinated when he's in a wrestling ring.
I wouldn't say weirdly. He shows up impaired.
Okay.
Well,
I don't know Travis Scott
so
the way you know
so
him.
let me ask you this question: was he wearing sunglasses when he walked in?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a reason.
Yeah. Yeah, he's
There's a few reasons.
he's wearing sunglasses everywhere he goes there in the WWE. And
He's like Corey Hart.
Yeah.
He wears his sunglasses at night.
the problem is the crowd really wants to kind of cheer Cena, but then you have Travis Scott and they're just indifferent to him because they're like, it's like watching a train wreck. It's like they're not booing him, they're not cheering him. He's not getting legitimate heat. He's just
There.
I mean,
he's just there.
I think it's a good pairing. Now, that's coming from someone who is
Yeah.
not a wrestling fan and also did not watch WrestleMania. So I don't know how it turned out. But on paper, I feel like it works because Cena, he's a heel now, right?
Mhm.
Travis Scott is kind of the heel of like rap, or at least tries to present himself that way, where he just kind of shows up, does whatever. He's achieved an amount of success where he is truly independent, that
Yeah.
sort of thing.
He just when you watch him, it's uncomfortable because you feel like something's gonna go dangerously wrong. And it's just not
I believe that
Well,
for sure. There's
anxious.
it makes you anxious. It's not entertaining. You're not like booing him. You're like
Ooh, get off.
nervous
Yeah.
that someone's going to get hurt or something's going to get
Mhm.
botched or it's going to get ruined or I mean like
he's a
that's how
reckless guy.
he's a reckless guy and it comes across on screen and the WWE's cool with we're going to have that happen. Now, there's one other thing I want to mention before we go. Stone Cold Steve Austin comes out right before the main event. This is when things went downhill. Night 2 was almost perfect up until Stone Cold comes out. He's on a four-wheeler driving around the ring crazily. And he drives his four-wheeler right into the barricade by accident. This is not a planned thing.
That's dangerous.
And there's a fan there.
Hmm.
And the woman was like shocked that he had run into the barricade. It didn't appear like she was actually physically contacted in any way. But when he runs into the barricade, she's like, and then she sits down. And he's like talking with her, and she's like visibly upset. Nick Khan, the second in command there in WWE, comes over and starts talking to her, and everyone's like, "Oh, well, she's getting WrestleMania tickets for life." You know, I mean, what kind of deal are they working out? And it ruined the entire vibe because Austin comes in the ring, he's drinking heavily, he's promoting the attendance, and I'm thinking, like, everyone's thinking, this woman's got a heck of a lawsuit on her hand.
Yeah.
Like, she needs to reach out to Alexander
Yeah.
Shannara.
Yeah, Stone Cold's bit is he always like just chugs or shotguns a beer, and he's doing that and then getting on a motorized vehicle and operating it unsafely. So
Now,
that is a problem.
she gave the best sell of the night. I mean, she gave the best, like, she didn't look legitimately hurt, but she looked legitimately angry.
Should we do emotional distress, maybe?
Maybe, but every lawyer in America is probably contacting her going like, "Hey, I think I want to represent you." But we'll see how all that plays out. If there's any other further reporting on that, I assume there's not going to be. I assume they're going to work something out, but that was really unsettling. And then, an hour later, you have Travis Scott coming out, and it also feels unsettling. So, WWE WrestleMania 41, it's in the books. What grade would I give it? I would give it a solid C plus overall. Majority of the matches were bad.
See,
Yeah. Fiend played the whole time. There were way too many advertisements, and it just wasn't narratively very impactful at the end. It felt weak. The main event felt slow motion, really not a good wrestling match. So, one moment does not make for a Mania, and unfortunately, Reigns, Rollins, and CM Punk could not save this one. But hoping we can get Brian Pavlik back sometime soon. We'll dissect it even more. But what do you think of WrestleMania 41? Let us know in the comment section or in the chat right here. Tyler, if you have anything on the way out, prepare that for me here. But I'm going to remind you about our title sponsor. That is MyBookie at mybookie.ag. You can bet on anything, anywhere, anytime. There's mybookie.ag. Make sure you use that promo code next round for that first time deposit bonus. There at our title sponsor, mybookie.ag. Tyler, got anything to close us out with?
No, just go check out our Center spoiler review up on the channel now. It's been available since Saturday. So after you see Sinners, make sure to watch that video to see me, Tim, and Hunter all discuss that movie. Make sure to go to our shorts tab to see any out of the theater reactions. Got ones for Sneaks, for Sinners, for the Hatsune Miku movie, and for tonight's Screen Unseen, which I believe will be Legend of Ochi.
Well, there we go. Hopefully, EG, the King, will be back later tonight as poker is set to take place, and I'm feeling pretty good going
You
into
are?
tonight. I am.
Confident?
Don't be shocked if tomorrow we open up the show and I'm telling you about my 30th victory in the history of the Primetime Poker Club.
Okay.
What would that be?
That
20?
was a hard eye twitch.
That would be 29 ahead of you at that point.
You can do math. You can count. You know that.
Barely. That's why I'm in this business. We'll see you again very soon. Make sure you're subscribed if you haven't already. Hit that little notification bell so you never miss when we get passive aggressive here on the Meltdown. We appreciate each and every one of you. We'll see you again very soon.